Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Real Sports Scope. I'm your host, Robert Butler, on this 12th day of March here. I know a lot of the conference tournaments are heating up right now. Miami, Ohio. It's going to be an interesting selection Sunday coming up this Sunday. Miami, Ohio lost today. They were the undefeated team. The fact that they went undefeated in the regular season, I probably would put them in the tournament, even though they were a mid-major tournament. But they did get upset today. But anyways, that's a side note. Big story today. Kyler Murray has signed with the Minnesota Vikings. I'm going to ask the Mad New Yorker about that when we come back from the break. We'll go over Giants also signed Calvin Austin, Mad New Yorker. If you can hear me backstage there. That story broke this afternoon as well. Former wide receiver from the Pittsburgh Steelers. So stand by. We'll take our first and only break, and we'll be back here running full blast here on the Real Sports Scope with myself and the Mad New Yorker. Hello, Sports Scope followers. The program has seen tremendous growth since going 5 days a week. I just wanted to thank everybody for your cash contributions and sharing the program with friends and families. Just a reminder, if you want to contribute to the program, go to the Cash App, the cash sign, and Sports Scope. There are other ways to contribute to the program listed at the bottom of the screen. If you want to advertise on the program, go to Sports, that is Sports with an S, another S, Scope, SKOPE, at gmail.com, just like it's listed at the bottom of the screen. Thank you and enjoy the program. All righty then, I'm back here live. Let's go ahead and bring the Mad New Yorker in. Good crowd tonight. Hey, man, how you doing, Chief?
Hey, how's it going, man? Happy Thursday. Thanks for having me on, Robert. Yo, that crowd gets louder and louder every week, man.
Man, it's a big crowd, man. I'm out doing Jimmy Kimmel and all those guys, those big studio audiences. Big story broke just a few hours ago, probably the biggest story of the week, of the day anyways. Kyler Murray signs with the Minnesota Vikings. I'll get your take first. What do you think about that signing? Does it throw off the development of J.J. McCarthy, or should he even worry about that? What's your thoughts about that? Kyler Murray signing with the Minnesota Vikings.
Well, I think there's been a lot of crazy things going on for this free agency time period, so it's going to be a lot to just unravel right now. But for Kyler Murray, I think it's one of the best moves that his agent and him can actually agree upon. You go into an indoor situation, so the game's faster. He's fast. He can use his skills and abilities, which is pretty much being speedster and quick. He's going to be a part of a team with a coach that has the potential of making him even a better quarterback, helping him, grow more with that coach that they have up there in Minnesota. He's going to be probably starting over J.J. McCarthy, to be honest with you, and I would probably start him too. If the thing with J.J. McCarthy is that he's still trying to get in back into like mode from that surgery he had, last year. So, and if you don't like what you see from Kyler Murray, you could always start J.J. McCarthy a few games in, and then you can just go back and forth between them. Both of these quarterbacks are known to get injured anyways. One of them for his size, which is Kyler Murray, and the other one for just making some plays and just the fact that he is not as quick and his pocket presence isn't where it should be yet because he's still young. And JJ McCarthy. So I think this is a good move for the team, to be honest with you. I give it an A+, and I say that because you and I had this conversation about J.J. McCarthy. I don't think he was a quarterback that should have gone in the first round. And he was probably more geared to be a backup quarterback than anything. Yeah. But he did. He got where he was at. He got picked. He got injured. He's now coming back from that. injury, and let's just hope he can maybe do a lot better than his expectations were set out to be. So.
Yeah, and I'm reading a lot of this. Well, this is going to mess up the chemistry in the locker room. You're going to build the team around JJ. I mean, this is stuff I'm reading off the internet from fans, mainly fans. One guy particularly here on Facebook, and I thought to myself, and I looked this up. JJ McCarthy's played 10 games, folks, in 2 years. Remember, he got hurt not last year, but the year before that.
That's right.
He didn't count. He played 10 games last year. He got hurt again. And, you know my take on Kyler Murray. Like you said, they both have an injury history. But this is like the least low-risk, high-reward deal that I can think of. The Arizona Cardinals are paying Murray $36.8 million of his salary, with Arizona paying all but the minimum salary. This is from NFL Network. Tom Pelissero. So if you're Minnesota and you're O'Connell here, you're thinking, okay, I've got a quarterback that's played 10 games in 2 years. All right. I've got one of the best receivers in the game. I've got the best, probably top 1 or 2 defensive coordinators in the game. Very good defense. Decent offensive line there. Decent running game. And we're in a very tough division here. I can see ownership getting frustrated with O'Connell and maybe moving off him. He's never had the right quarterback. He's had guys like Kirk Cousins and Sam Darnold resurrected his career from nothing, And Kyler Murray coming in on like $1.4 million. I mean, they can't turn that deal down. This is like Russell Wilson. This is better because he's much younger.
Right.
Russell Wilson going to the Steelers a few years ago. They can't turn that deal down. And, if I'm J.J. McCarthy, if I'm somebody in J.J. McCarthy's circle, I'm saying, what would you have any reason to gripe about a guy, the fact that you've played 10 games in 2 years? If I'm J.J., I'm thinking to myself, if I'm this organization, I'd probably bring in another guy because I've played 10 games in 2 years, By the way, this is a side note here. I just got done finished watching. I don't know if you got a chance to see this a few months ago. Right around the Super Bowl. This 49ers documentary called The 49ers Dynasty. It was on A&E. You could probably find somewhere to stream it, folks. But this is when the 49ers brought in Bill Walsh brought in Steve Young for Montana. Because Montana, he had some injury problems. I didn't realize that, but he did in the 80s. We were very young at that time. And Bill Walsh kept these two around for years. I mean, healthy competition. Now, you could cut the tension with a knife, but it brought the best out of both quarterbacks, and they both wanted to play, and they both ended up winning the Super Bowl. So this whole idea, hey, move one guy in, split the locker room, I think that stuff is just overstated, man. The bottom line is you're there to win football games, and the best man wins. Everybody knows who the best man is. Maybe the best man is the healthy man. If you could get 8.5 games out of both of them, then you got a whole season. My guess is they'll both be hurt at some point this year, and they'll have to get another quarterback. So, what's your thoughts on that the aspect of where it could mess up J.J. McCarthy's development? What's your thoughts on that argument?
Right now, the only one who's messed up is Jefferson. His decline in catches and yards per carry after the yak yards after a catch is what's been affected because of the fact that there's not a consistency in his ability to get the ball from a quarterback that can throw the ball. Kyler Murray, we sometimes forget that he can actually launch the ball. He is actually not as bad.
Little guy, dude. Very good arm.
Yeah, and his accuracy isn't that bad. The biggest issue that he had was that he wasn't the biggest guy on the field when he needed to be, right? He doesn't play big. He's just small. And if he can get his mindset to protect the ball and not do the things that he's used to doing, and just use the tools that he has around him. I mean, look, you want to complain about this guy's height, but if you look around in Chicago, they got a guy who doesn't turn the ball over, and they were in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, you can't just turn the ball over and say, oh, it's because my O-line or this and that. You gotta make plays, and you gotta use the tools and the guys around you. The coaching staff for Minnesota will probably help him out, just like they helped out all the other quarterbacks they've had in the past. And you know that was the one most important factor that they had there in San Francisco those golden years in the mid '80s to late '80s was the fact that they had coaching staff. The tree that came out of that team, you know, it's incredible, and those guys went and built their own coaching history from that. So you know, as much as NFL is a business, it's still a team sport, and you still got to put your ego to the side. And those guys coach the ego out of those players to be able to be a formidable team and to be competitive with each other, but also super competitive against the rest of the league. So that's why they were very comparable and were able to be an established winning team. So
that is a great docu-series. I'm sure Keith has seen it. He's a big sports documentary guy like myself, the great Keith Engel. Calvin Austin, this stuff just broke about an hour or two ago as well. I don't know about your Giants. I don't know why they always seem to get these cast-offs from the Steelers. First, Plexico Burress, but hey, he helped you win a Super Bowl before he shot himself in the leg. Now Calvin Austin. What's your thoughts about that, man? That's pretty talented guy, just inconsistent, you know?
Right. I think for the Giants right now is trying to have some depth. They lost Wandale. They lost Wandale.
Wandale Robertson here in Tennessee.
So which is a great pickup for the Titans. But that speed, you need that speed in games, and you know, this is the opposite situation for the quarterback here. He's still young. He's still learning. They put all the eggs in one basket with this guy. I'm still not sure if he's a franchise quarterback yet.
Right.
But they're banking on him to be, and that's a lot of pressure put on this kid. And you know, I like his moxie. I like that he has a decent work ethic. What I'm not seeing is, I'm not sure how his growth is going to be. So having wide receivers that have a little bit of a past history will help him more than will help the quarterback and that team in the wide receiver room a little bit more, and just kind of give light to all the things that Wandale Robinson couldn't give feedback to, right? Like the speedster wide receiver isn't your number one. However, he can be your game breaker and he can help the team, and that's what they're doing with getting Austin. But the biggest problem, again, like what you said, is he's a castaway, and his inconsistency. Hopefully, he leaves that and moves up from that, knowing that this is the only way to get and stay on a team is to be more consistent. So he's got to learn from that. It's an okay pickup. The Giants did all right in this free agency, but I just
thoughts about their whole free agent, Isaiah Likely, Tremaine Edmonds, which I thought that was a good pickup, though. The former linebacker of the Chicago Bears, and the former tight end there of, which I'm surprised that Ravens moved on from him. He's the younger player, Mark Andrews. I guess they didn't see him as having enough consistency with Lamar Jackson as the older Mark Andrews did. What's your thoughts about those former Ravens there? That former Raven, I think, did that fullback also used to play with this Patrick Ricard? Didn't he used to play with the Ravens too? That the Giants signed? Okay, so that's two former Ravens right there. Right. Any thoughts about those players?
I think that this coach coming in, Harbaugh, I think was trying to pick as much as he could guys that he was used to, that he knew that he could count on, just to kind of bring the culture in a little bit more, let it be a little bit more focused about his expectations, have guys on the roster that can share their experience. And then also, look, the Ravens have been a winning team. They've been in the playoffs. So you can't complain about the kind of guys that are coming from that team not being playoff ready. They've been in the playoffs. Now, have they been in the Super Bowl lately? That's that was a mountain that they couldn't get.
Right, they were in the AFC Championship game a few years ago.
Right, so that was one mountain they couldn't get over. But listen, you need guys that are winners. You need guys that have winning attitudes, and these guys bring it, and they bring it into games, they bring it at practice, and heck, he even got a punter from the Ravens team. So like,
they sure did actually.
So I think that it can help them more than anything else, and I still, even with the changes that they made, I'm not sure they'll get more.
Yeah, that's his name, Jordan Stout.
Yeah, I'm not sure that.
Stole the quote machine from the Ravens. They stole everything from the Ravens.
They're about to steal that color too. Be black and purple.
Change the uniform.
Yeah, I mean, but I'm not. You know me. I try to be. I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer, but I just hope that this can get them at least 9 wins. I'm still right around that. I feel that they're not going to get more than that, but they did do good in the free agency, and I was surprised that the Jets and the Giants did what they did. But
what's your thought? I thought the Jets are. Listen, I hate to be a Debbie Downer as well, but the Jets are really in prime. They traded for Geno Smith. They're really in prime position to get maybe the number 1 pick next year, maybe an Arch Manning or a Dante Moore from Oregon, or somebody else that may rise up with their quarterback room. They did add a lot of players. What's your thoughts on that? I didn't particularly like it, but if you're a Jets fan, you just, I don't know, punt on 26 and then look forward to next year.
I mean, it's a whole lot of defense and offense. They still have Hall on the tag. They tagged him, but they end up paying all these defensive players, and so he turns around and sends a message like, "Well, why didn't I get any of that money?" That's not good coming from your running back. So, I just don't. I hope that the emotions don't get in the way of the of what the plan is for trying to get everything going for the Jets. For the last 2 seasons, they went from being one of the best defenses to one of the middle range defenses. And now with these changes, they probably topple back up to the top, maybe to a top 10 team on the lower end, maybe number 9 or 10 with the defensive players that they picked up. But we got to see what their plan is going to be for the offense. They kept the running back and tagged him. Quarterback wise, that's always been in question for like the last 10 years, 20 years.
Sanchez played them first 2 years, which they end up getting to. What didn't they get to like 2 AFC Championship games in a row, if I'm not mistaken?
With Dirty Sanchez, yes, with Mr. Sanchez, with the Mark Sanchez came in as a rookie quarterback. He went in the first year and they were in the playoffs. The second year they were in the playoffs, and then they just
fell off. The longer he stayed with Rex Ryan, the worse it got. Michael Fitzpatrick, and that's a good pickup there. Jets do have a pretty good offensive line, but they're so bad at quarterback. Man, I mean, Geno Smith. If you want the number 1 pick, you get Geno Smith. Maybe that's what they're thinking. The Raiders got number 1 pick this past year. They had Geno Smith.
Now we gotta be fair to Geno Smith. The Raiders had him. They didn't have a decent line to help him. He in the last 4 years, not last year, but those 3 other years, he was a comeback player of the year. He was in the talks for being an MVP. The year after that, and then last year is where he kind of fell down again. So, we'll see where he's at this year, and I think that's what the goal is: how much money to spend on the quarterback, and what kind of quarterback they got. And they got a guy who said he's fine with coming back and coming back home to where he was a first pick, and maybe this time he's a different player and hopefully a better player than what.
Well, that is you're really optimistic. Hey, man, more power to you. You never know what can happen. Chad says Will Levis to the Jets. Listen, The Titans signed Mitch Trubisky. I don't know why they signed Mitch Trubisky. Everybody that Brian DeBall knew and Robert Saleh knew got a contract from the Titans this week, it sounds like. I wish me and you would have met these guys, or maybe they gave us a contract. I could use a contract. That being said, if Will Levis has a pretty good training camp, has a good few preseasons, comes back healthy, maybe Tennessee does trade him to a Jets or somebody. We'll see about that. But they're definitely going to trade him. They're going to sign Mitch Trubisky and keep Cam Ward, you know.
Well, if he wants to come to New York, they got enough coffee and they got enough mayonnaise to fulfill his need to fix it.
The mayonnaise jokes will never stop with Will Levis. Hopefully he can grow up. Maybe Minnesota goes after a guy like him. You never know. I don't think, by the way, going back to Kyler Murray, I don't think it's going to work out long term, but it does make it interesting this year with Kyler Murray. My guess is he'll look good for about 5 or 6 games, and then he'll get hurt like he always does, and maybe McCarthy will take over, and maybe the game will slow down. McCarthy did show some flashes at the end of the year last year, but I think it's just good to bring in the healthy competition. It's such a low-risk, high-reward move. And The Athletic brought up the fact that I think it was the general manager of the A's said, hey, the door's still open for Murray to come back to the Major League Baseball. So Murray's in a win-win situation, if you ask me.
Yeah, he's still young enough and he's still athletic enough to, if he wants to go to baseball and just, it doesn't work out for him in the NFL, he could just go and be a baseball star. And he's not welcome, and the opportunity, the rights that the A's hold from him is legit. It's a true situation that, he's gonna be in the league for one more year. And if it doesn't work out for any other reason, and if he's forced to go to a team he doesn't want to go to again, right? Because you have to understand that this guy went with high expectations. He's a Heisman Trophy winner with high expectations. Yeah, trying to go to a team that's terrible to try to bring them up. I don't think that was a good fit for him to begin with anyways. So plus the whole attributes thing, right? He's short. He can't, can you see over the O line? All those other things that people bring on, his small hands, all this stuff.
Mad short. Like you're the man. So he's a short dude. He's our guy trying to play NFL quarterback.
Yeah, well, Doug Flutie was a quarterback. Steve Young wasn't the tallest guy in the world. There's a lot of guys that are not
a little bit tall. I mean, he's really tiny. I think
whatever you want to say about
like that, it's not going to work out for Diego either.
Yeah, I mean, whatever they say about him, and this is an opportunity for him to just, be somewhere else, try to do something different, and this is the most beneficial part for the ownership of the Minnesota Vikings because they don't got to spend money.
It's a low risk, and hey, man, I like what O'Connell does. I like the defense they play up there. I like Brian Flores. Plus, they got Addison up there if he can stay out of trouble with Justin Jefferson there and Hawkins. They got a very good tight end, decent offensive line. They're ready. I said that if they made the right move, I'd rather for them to get Mac Jones, but that's another story. I think they would be a surprise team to get to the Super Bowl. That'd be a story if they made the Super Bowl with 2 quarterbacks playing 7 and 8 games.
I mean, if they would have added Mac Jones, they would have just got a mirror image of what they have now. Like a guy who doesn't have that much speed, who makes throws on.
He's shown to play at a very, very high level. Did you see Mac Jones last year with 49ers?
I mean,
I didn't see the difference between him and I know Purdy's a little stronger arm, a little bit more, but dude, that's a great release. That's what it takes to win in NFL.
I think
defense as quick as he was last year.
He's competitive and formidable, but I'm not sure Mac Jones is a starter in the NFL, to be honest with you.
I'm convinced. Now, the reports are that the 49ers are asking too much for Mac Jones. Maybe that changes. A lot of stuff is going to happen. A lot's going to come about with Ty Simpson and whatnot, who drafts him and how those other quarterbacks go. What's your thoughts? You follow the Titans, man. I thought they had a pretty decent free agency signing period here. They signed a lot of players. I would have given them a higher grade in like a C plus if it wasn't so many of your former Giants there. Got a little crazy there. But I will say I had for Wardell Robertson when he played against the Detroit Lions in fantasy. Had a huge game against the Lions. They lost that shootout, but and I like guys like who was it? Robertson, I want to say, the defensive lineman there. Miles Franklin, I want to say, the defensive lineman there. And Alonzo Taylor, the cornerback from the Saints. But other than that, you got a lot of former Jet players, a lot of former Giant players, a former 49er, Solomon Thomas. My criticism is it seems like that Saleh and the ball are kind of bullying this general manager into signing their players rather than the best players. I'm a little concerned about that. What are your thoughts about that angle of it with the Titans?
I'm gonna throw something at you real quick. I think it was the GM that threw the bone at Dable and Saleh because they had experience with these former players and convinced them that they can get these guys and not have to pay out the highest prices for them.
Okay.
Right? So they're like, listen, let's get these guys, who you're comfortable with. Like, he gave them a sheet and said, here's your shopping list. Which one do you want? Because we're going to spend money, but we're not going to spend all of it because we're still going to see what we can get for a draft pick.
Oh, and I would okay with that angle of getting a high volume of players that are just pretty good to rather 3 or 4 really good, solid lock-in players.
Well,
what's your take on that? I got my take, but I'll let you go.
So if I was GM, the biggest thing is that I look at the guys in front of me who's coaching, and I see their record and what they did with the guys who were on the second, third team, 4 teams, and on the practice squad. And if you're gonna get players to perform at the highest level and pay minimum to below rates, you got 2 of the guys in the league who've done it for more than 3 years plus, and that's Robert Saleh, who did it last year, a great job last year. He was playing guys that were from the streets, from Walmart.
He did. That's his best coaching job of his career with the 49er defense.
So he can do it, and Dayball's done it before. He took that Giants team to a playoff that wasn't really going to be a playoff team. So the depth is important. You got to have guys on the roster that's going to be there consistently. Like some of these number 2, 3 guys, they might be 2 or 3, but they there all the time, right? Because your number 1 goes out. Your number 2, you can't have the guy. You can have a number 2. Not
so
because
you like Daniel Bellinger, the tight end from the Giants.
I think he's going to help because he has good blocking skills and he has decent hands. You talking about a guy that was catching craziness from Daniel Jones, like you know what I'm saying, like because Daniel Jones ain't the most accurate. So even on the short passes, this guy he was catching things. So I personally grade the Titans a B.
Okay.
Because again, the amount of money they spent and the players that they got are actually gonna facilitate and actually stabilize a little bit of what they were missing and lacking for the last 2 seasons, and which is depth, which is you got to have guys that play week in and week out, and these coaches got the most out of their players who were on the bench, who were roster players that were that were sent to the practice squad. Those kind of players, they get them to play at a high capacity, which is good. So you might not have got a superstar that you wanted, but you got guys that are gritty, and you need that.
No, I'm not totally down on it. Listen, these defensive players, like I said, Wandale Robertson, watched a lot of him. I'm not down on that one, but I do like for Alontae Taylor, John Franklin Myers. Those 2 particularly. If they can draft, and I said this and put it in a clip, you probably saw it already, but if they can draft a David Bailey if he's available, or the edge rusher out of Texas Tech, or the Miami. God, what is the guy's name? What's the edge rusher out of Miami that everybody's talking about?
Yeah, I forget his name, but I know who you're talking about.
Or the edge rusher out of Miami, to put him with John John Franklin Myers there. Then you got something on this defensive line. Of course, you got Jeffrey Simmons in the middle. My thing is, I'd much rather for him to possibly bring in a guy like a Tyler Linderbaum at tight end or at center. He was a lot of money, $27 million. I know it's a lot of money for the Raiders to pay, and get a guy like a Jamel Dean, cornerback out of Tampa that eventually went to Pittsburgh, and maybe a Dallas Goedert tight end out of Philadelphia. You may pay a little bit more money. And I'd rather have 3 or 4 really high-end guys and use the draft for depth than this. That being said, I'm not going to be totally down, because I know I've seen a lot of these players play. These are good players.
But Robert, when you talk about building depth from the draft, you're forgetting one thing, and that the depth isn't just the play on the field; it's the age, right? You're getting younger players. You're getting guys. Yeah. That they haven't peaked at college. They're about to peak in the NFL. So even if they went round 2,
Ruben Bain Jr. Yeah, Ruben Bain.
Even if you get
short arms.
Yeah, if you get these kids that are in the 2nd and 3rd, and even the 4th round, you move down and you sell or trade your pick. You don't have to worry about it, because you got these guys that are gritty, that are going to do work. So, and those 2 coaches, they're the ones that can actually set them up for better success, in the sense where they're going to give them opportunities. They're going to play around with the schemes. You don't get that from all the coaches. You don't get that from. So that's why these 2 guys are going to have a better season this year, because they're going to get everybody's going to be competing. Man, we just talked about the quarterbacks competing and being successful. Now you're going to have players competing, and they're going to be successful.
Yeah, I do think they got some depth there at wide receiver now, because I was under the impression they were going to cut Ridley. They kept Ridley. Now they got Wan'Dale Robertson, and they've got Dyke, the speedy player from Florida, the second-year player, and Alomar there. So now you've got 4 wide receivers if you count Wan'Dale Robertson. That's a little bit of depth that I'd expect them to have if they keep Ridley. I think they're going to keep Ridley. I think if they were going to cut him, they would have cut him already at this point. I mean, the guy's still a pretty productive receiver there. You got 2,000-yard receivers if you count Ridley, and you count Wan'Dale Robertson there. And of course, they got Bellinger at tight end. They still need a center. Let me bring this up to you. Do you take the edge rusher at 4? A lot of the mock drafts are saying take Jeremiah Love at 4. Well, what's wrong with Tony Pollard, who had a lot of burst left in him last year? And, of course, Spears, the other running back, who are still under contract. My whole argument with that is these edge rushers make $40 million. Danielle Hunter was paid $40 million to go 1 year stay 1 year with the Houston Texans. That's what these edge rushers cost a lot of money. Why not get an edge rusher of a Ruben Bain Jr. or perhaps David Bailey on a rookie contract versus Jeremiah Love on a rookie contract when you've got running backs that cost $14, $15 million for top-end running backs. You see what I'm saying? You're getting these really expensive high-end guys who can complement each other. You get a guy like a Ruben Bain with those defensive players and that coaching. I mean, he can shine with Tennessee, even with his short arms there. Or, hey, listen, a lot of people say Jeremiah Love's the best overall talent in the draft, the flip side of that argument. What's your thoughts about that Notre Dame running back?
I think that the Titans have to be very careful with just thinking that the pick that they get is going to be the number one. Their first round pick is going to be superstar. So, because they've had this situation, this is like going to be the fourth year in a row that they're going to be a first rounder, depending on the number in the year, that they're going to be closer to the top, not just in the middle and the back end of the first round. So, if you have the 4 pick, man, I would trade it away, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because
what if you do not get that off? It'd be great. They should trade it away. I mean, if you trade that down and get another second or third round pick, then you could definitely take Jeremiah Love at 10 or 11.
Yeah, because look,
I love me some Jeremiah Love. He was explosive. He's like Bijan Robertson, I think, who plays for the Falcons. I think he's that good, But I don't know if I'd take him at 4 when you got one of those big name edge. Now, I will say this. It would be a discussion to perhaps maybe take Love over a guy like Arvell Reese. I think he's overrated, man. A lot of people don't think that. I think he's one of those measurable guys, workout warrior guys, where his play doesn't really complement his play.
Question to you, a Titans question. All right, let's take it back. Is this guy Bain better than Javon Curse?
Well, he's not physically as good as Javon. He's more of a comparable to a Dwight Freeney type of player. But I would compare him to a Nick Bosa. Some people may say Bosa's a better prospect, but I think he's got the kind of footing of a Bosa. He's a little smaller, but he can get around people. But look who he's going to be paired beside, though. He's going to be paired beside John Franklin, and of course, some people were saying that maybe was an All-Pro. Simmons was an All-Pro last year. That he was one of the best defensive players in football.
Yeah, because do you really want to spend a draft pick on a complementary player to the players you already have?
Because it's going to make the overall defense that much better.
But I mean, for that,
you could get to the playoffs playing that good a defense.
But
saw it with Seattle, man.
But Seattle was different
with Houston. Look how bad their offense was with their turnovers at times.
But these guys that were coming out of Seattle, even Houston, the guys that came out from the first round picks were Javon Curse types, were game changer types. Is this guy Bain a game changer, or he's just gonna complement? He's just gonna be like the guy who makes the play in the third down. No, Javon Curse made plays every down. He was
physically more imposing, but Bain can. I mean, Freeney was that big a player for. He was a big game changer for.
But I feel like with Freeney, he had it took time for him. It took like 2 or 3 seasons for him to get there, and then when he got there, everybody's like, we got to double him, right? So I don't know. And don't get me wrong. It's not that every guy is going to be Javon Curse, because that's not how that works either. But
he's nicknamed the Freak. You know what I'm saying?
Right, and that's my thing is like that's
5'10", 170. He's not a huge player.
You want to get a guy who's a game changer, I'm not sure if Bain
with that 4th pick. Then, if he was forced to, you probably ain't done your homework on that, have you? It's all right, man.
No. I mean, I'm just looking at because the Titans just got more picks from these trades and these signings that they got. So, they got a lot of picks in these, man. They got 7, 8, 9 picks, something like that. So
my thing is, by the way, Nick Bosa, he put that 49er defense over the top. When he was drafted as a rookie, they went all the way to the Super Bowl. So Tennessee went all the way to the Super Bowl with Javon Curse's rookie year. A defensive player playing off other good defensive players can put you over the top. A good edge rusher, look at Jalen.
Okay, question.
Look what he did to Philadelphia, man.
Here's the thing. When they doubled up on Curse, who was the second person in there to either come in for a sack or stop the run? Do you remember?
Oh, I don't know. I had to go back and look at that. I think it was Fisk or somebody.
It was Arrington. Arrington, the Penn State player was Hainsworth.
No, Hainsworth came later. Yeah, we're talking 99. Hainsworth didn't come till 2001 because I remember Hainsworth helped Tennessee.
What was this guy? He was a linebacker. It was a linebacker that was.
I mean, Godfrey was a linebacker on that team.
Yeah. So like these guys, that defense was stout.
Yeah, it was good, man. It was good. I'm telling you, Bailey's the guy. But Bailey's probably going to go to your Jets at 2 or Arizona at 3.
He'd probably go to Arizona, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Bailey's probably going to go to Arizona. You got Evans. You had Jason Fisk, Henry Ford on the defensive line, Eddie Robertson, Denard Walker. They had a very good secondary that year. Samari Rolle, Blaine Bishop.
Oof.
They had some veterans there.
Man, Blaine Bishop and Samari Rolle, that two. Oh, man.
Headhunters, man. Headhunters. Ooh. So that's my point. Hey, any thoughts about I think that the Ravens started second guessing themselves. I think they got cold feet. I think that physical thing was a lame excuse. And I think that the league was pretty ticked off. The Raiders recovered. But it was a pretty foul thing. What's your thoughts about that Max Crosby trade and how that played out? Do you believe what the Ravens say? Maybe, hey, the physical didn't go through. What's your thoughts about that situation?
I see this. I looked in and I was like, it was Keith Bulluck. Yeah, thank you. I
don't think Bullock was on that roster. Well, I love Keith Bulluck though.
Bullock was all right. So
he didn't come until later, I don't think.
I woke up and I saw that the Ravens added this guy from the Hendrickson. And I was like, oh my God, they got Max Crosby and Hendrickson. And then I read, and then I went and I settled down and I was reading and I was like, oh, they went back on Crosby. And I was like, and so then I read into it and I was like, wow. But
it looks like they were waiting for Henderson's number to come down and they said, we can't give these 2 picks up for a 29-year-old player. And I thought it was rich even for the rate. I was like, man, I mean, yeah, he might help you, but geez, he's 29. That's maybe 2 really good years there.
I think also what was the Ravens heard from other players and past coaches about his actual health, Max Crosby's actual health.
Okay.
You talk about a guy that goes 110, but you didn't hear about his shoulder hurting. You didn't hear about a knee issue. You never heard any of those things because he's played every single game.
He played through it now.
Right.
Dr. Rossini did say they were aware of that meniscus injury and of his surgery, but it's hearing of it and actually seeing the MRI and everything. I still say it's nonsense. I mean, obviously the doctors for the Ravens aren't going to say, yeah, they told me to say that. My point is the doctor could say, well, it could go wrong. I'm not saying it will go wrong. The doctors can have those on the fence kind of arguments and kind of protect the team that way, is my opinion.
I think because this is the Ravens, that just a little bit of what they heard and what they saw was enough convincing for the GM to say, I can't give this guy a full contract. To pay them what they were thinking about paying him. Even though he's deserving of anything he gets paid, man. This guy's a
baller,
Yeah, and I mean, so, and then they went a little bit younger, right? Hendrickson came, but it's not like they went to a healthier guy because Hendrickson got hurt too.
Henderson missed half of last season, and he's 2 years older. And they gave Henderson a 4-year deal. Henderson is a 2-year guy. I don't know what the Ravens were thinking. I've read a bunch of criticisms. Jason Lackenford, former NFL insider, they're really coming down on DeCosta, saying this guy's no Ozzie Newsome. And truth of the matter is, he is no Ozzie Newsome. Ozzie Newsome was just a well of a general manager, but he retired. His last pick was Lamar Jackson. Now they have got to the AFC Championship game with DeCosta there, but I do think he is somewhat on the hot seat now that I'm talking about the general manager. Now that Harbaugh has been fired and all this money, but I mean, going back to Friday night, man, I'm thinking to myself, okay, you got a $70 million cap hit you got to deal with. They did deal with it with Lamar Jackson, and you want to take on this $30 million a year, two first-round guys you're giving up for a 29-year-old player, and you've got this all-world center that's about to walk out on you on free agency that wants $18+ million a year in Tyler Lindenbaum. And, of course, we know what he got. He got $27 million, and he walked. Isaiah Likely walked. A lot of players left, man, and like you said, quite a few went to the Giants. I'm not sure if the Ravens might not fall apart next year, because of their age.
We're going to look to see how they draft and who they draft to build that depth now with. And they'll get quicker at wide receiver for sure. They're going to get – I'm not sure if that line is going to be strong enough to uphold and keep Lamar Jackson from getting hurt or injured. They may take a center. I've been mentioned there's a center out of Florida. They may take at 14. That would be kind of high, but this guy is possibly a fourth or a first round pick, is what I read. They got to replace Lindenbaum. So the Titans are going to give up the pick to the Ravens to trade down.
That would be nice. I'll tell you what, it's going back to the Titans. They did not replace. They cut Cosenberry. My guess is those players may fall. There's a player from Auburn. It's a center that's highly regarded, and this guy, his name is Jake Slaughter. What a great name for a football player. He's a center from University of Florida. I could see Tennessee taking him with 35th overall pick. That would be ideal for me. Don't poo-poo the offensive line, Tennessee Titans. Do not poo-poo that. Please don't poo-poo the offensive line. There's some thoughts that maybe they should draft a right tackle at 4, but the problem is they can play right, that these guys are not known to play left.
Right.
The left tackle seems to be an issue. We talked about that the other day with my man, Coach Carroll there was telling me he didn't block anybody. He Dan Moore. And my man Ralph Williams out of Pittsburgh caught him backdoor more, because you got around him. The snaps I seen him play, he didn't do that bad. I thought Cam Ward held on to the ball too long. But do you have any thoughts on? I thought the Raiders. All that being said, they got Tyler Lindenbaum. They got 2 linebackers, Nakobe Dean. That Quay Walker's a great player out of Green Bay. They got Jalen Naylor, very speedy guy from Minnesota.
Yep.
And Fernando Mendoza's coming up in the first round. Genty, the running back, is going to have a much bigger hole to run out up the middle with a guy like Lindenbaum blocking for him. They got a pretty good left tackle there. They got a new coach there. I think they've had one of the best off seasons of anybody, if you ask me. Part of me wants them to go ahead and keep Crosby. I think it'd be pretty motivated. Yeah,
the thing too is like I feel like they might come out like Arizona came out about 4 years ago.
Yeah,
when they got all that youth. The only problem was that they were too young, and then they had an injury battle with the wide receivers.
Or maybe in Detroit,
Or maybe Detroit. Like so, they have an opportunity of actually getting into the 9-10 opportunity if they work out this draft well, because they got a lot of good players, man, and and maybe we'll see an exciting young Raiders team, and they'll be able to grow together. I think Tom Brady, as a partial owner, I think this guy, what's his name, the owner there,
Mark Davis.
They've been trying different things, and I think now they're going to go with the formula. Let's try to stay as young as possible, and let's see if we can grow a team. And And I think that I feel like that was a plan because if you see everything that's going on, they're underneath the 27-year-old marker, right? So, and that was like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, last year, 4 of the playoff teams were under the age of 27, right at the 27 marker, and then the other 2 were over the age of 29, well, right at 29, so they didn't go past 30. Seattle.
You don't want to be too young, but you don't want to be too old either.
Right.
So,
I think
little sweet spot there.
Yeah, and I think so. I feel like that's going to be a fun team. Finally, the Raiders are going to be fun again to watch. We'll see what we get out of that. I mean, if you're going to rate them for what they did for the free agency, they got a B+ too.
I think for me.
Some people give them an A. The only reason I give them a B+ is the whole Crosby thing that fell apart on them, and I'm not sure if him staying on the team could be a good thing, right? Because
he's a Raider and he'll come back and play. I think he's looking at it the way we're looking at it and saying, you know what, I got 2 playmakers behind me. Oh yeah, and I think they brought a cornerback in too, if I'm not mistaken. They got a cornerback. They got some help at corner. So yeah, I mean they're really looking good right now, man.
They did better than the Patriots.
Yeah, the Patriots signed Romeo Doubs, pretty decent signing there. I like him over a guy like Stephon Diggs. Any thoughts about Malik Willis? He's going to sign with he signed with the Miami Dolphins. God bless him. I think it's going to fall apart after 4 or 5 games, and he's going to look like the guy for the Titans. But hey, he got paid. He's a good guy. He's a good, locker room guy. That being said, Dolphins could potentially be in for one of those top picks next year's draft in quarterbacks. But what's your thoughts? Maybe it works out for him signing that 3-year deal with the Dolphins.
Will the Dolphins be able to beat the Jets twice?
Yeah, that's 2 bad teams right there, ain't it?
Will they be able to beat
Raiders Bowl?
Yeah, will they be able to beat the Patriots at least once?
I don't think they'll beat the Patriots, not unless the Patriots are banged up.
Right.
By the way, the Dolphins got rid of Michael Fitzpatrick, Bradley Chubb, who's now with the Bills. They got the big cap hit from cutting Tua.
Well, yeah.
They traded Jalen Phillips last year. I mean, it's a total overhaul. It's a tank for me. Like I said yesterday, I think they're tanking, but they brought in Willis because they want to sell some tickets.
Right.
They don't want to, look like the Jets or nothing, who's totally look like they're tanking. But we'll see, man. I said that about Tampa one year, and then they end up making the playoffs with Todd Bowles. So
I think for Miami, the most important step will be to see what they do and see if they handle the draft the right way. That to me is
they got a new general manager. Let's see how that goes.
That to me is going to be the biggest key is how they handle the draft, because they've been poo-pooing the draft kind of,
Well, that Greer was really missed a lot on some players and the general manager, the former GM.
Yeah, the former GM. So I want to see what the new GM is going to bring to the table and how he's going to help this team be formidable, competitive team. And it's not even a hard division right now. The division is not that strong. So, they can come out if they just get the right young players down there. Miami is a tough spot for young players, man, because they're getting paid a lot of money, and then you can get wild down there, man.
You can get wild. A lot of them get in trouble. Ask Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
Miami. One basketball question here. I don't know if you've been listening to that situation there. I think I brought it up the other day. Miami, Ohio lost today. They did go undefeated in the regular season, man. Frank Martin, former coach, said, hey, listen, these guys are pretty good down there. I couldn't imagine not putting them in. I know they didn't play in a power conference, but they did not lose a single game in the regular season. You got to fight 68 teams. I don't know, man. I may find a way to put them in somewhere. What's your thoughts about maybe Miami, Ohio, undefeated regular season, did lose that conference tournament game that would have put them in there guaranteed, man?
I think this Miami Ohio team deserves an opportunity, but this, and I know it's almost backwards of how we talk about college football, but it's backwards because it's two different sports. That Miami Ohio team is kind of deep, and so you're going to get competitive basketball out of them. Whereas if you get some of these guys that are going to probably win a tournament in some of these bigger conferences, they're not that deep. They're not that deep at all. One guy can get injured on any of those top tier teams. Yeah. And the dance wasn't even worth the trip. So, and that happens in the dance. Guys get hurt.
So you think they should go in?
Yeah, I think it would be. I
got a feeling they're going to put him in, but we'll see. To Chad's question, yeah, Tua did sign with Atlanta. We talked about that last week. We said that'd probably be a pretty good fit. They officially did. He's going to go there for nothing. And Michael Penix is coming back from injury. These guys are both good team players. Tua, like Kyler Murray, even a Diego Pave, God bless him if he makes it, they're good for 3 or 4 games. So I'd bring these guys in as a backup. What do you think about that? I forgot to mention Tua.
I think for Atlanta, it was a money, like a money grab.
Yeah, they're not paying him nothing. It's low risk, high reward, short term,
And maybe it's also like one of those ticket sell type deals,
Yeah. Yeah, he's pretty accurate, man. He just can't stay healthy, and he can't elude the pass rush.
I just hope
much better offensive line.
Yeah, I just hope that he'd be able to go out there and pick up 7 or 8 games, and then try to stay healthy. The most important part is just try to stay healthy.
So. Yeah, that's a story of a lot of these players. By the way, Wednesday, you still good to bring your bracket on? Next Wednesday will be the tournament. We'll just talk NCAA basketball next week. I couldn't tell you who's going to win it now. Duke, I'm leaning heavy on Duke, and then now
Michigan's a big talk.
They had a guard to get hurt last week when they beat Carolina, and he's got a finger injury, and I don't know if he's going to be able to make it back or not. So I don't know who's going to win. I'm going to have to really study this thing. I have to look and see. Arizona's looks good. I know Michigan's really good. Florida may freaking go back-to-back. I don't want to say that, but geez, man.
I would rather see Gonzaga win.
Me too. Oh, my God. Please, God, no.
The problem with Gonzaga is that they can't score for the life of them. They rank almost second or third.
They got another guy that's supposed to come back as well. I don't know if he's going to be back this week. He got hurt a while back. I don't know if he's going to be able to play himself into shape quick enough or not.
They play so much good defense that sometimes they forget that they got to score, man. It's like, attack the basket. Don't be shooting those threes because those guys like to throw up the threes out there on the sound, man. Let's go. Attack the basket, man. Ooh.
Yeah. The Gonzaga's had some good wins, but I noticed, I think St. Mary's beat them a week or 2 ago. They got to bring their guys back here. One particular player, I got his name written down. So you're good for Wednesday next week, talking NCAA brackets.
Are we doing 2 shows in a row, or are we just doing Wednesday?
No, man, because I don't really like to do a show on that on the first day of the tournament, man. I think it's awesome. I just replay the show on the day of the tournament, and we'll do one Wednesday.
Thank you, Chad.
Florida. Florida's going to be the favorite. They're in town here in Nashville.
Chad, who do you want to win? Who does Chad want to win?
I don't know. But I tell you what, Florida's going to be favored to win I took Florida minus 11 and I think I took a minus 11.5 to beat Kentucky tomorrow in the SEC tournament. They're playing great. And you're right. I don't want to see them win 2 national championships twice in our lifetime. Just like we did when we were in college.
Yeah, and the problem with them is a good problem. It's like they get better as the game goes on. Like when you watch them play.
They got stamina, man.
They got stamina. That's right. They don't have high skill, but they make very little mistakes. But they just keep they just keep getting in the game, and you're like, golly, like no team can beat this team, and it's man, it's.
I really like to see Duke. I like Cameron Boozer, the son there, Carlos Boozer. I mean, I'd love to see Tennessee win, but Barnes teams, they're not going to win anything. You know, Kentucky, I'd love to see Kentucky win. The chemistry is just not there with this group.
What is it?
$20 million.
I have this issue, man, and it's like I have the New York teams I root for, and then I'm like, you know what? I used to live in.
I'd love Pitino to win another one, but
no. Listen to this.
Yeah.
Right. This is something that makes me upset, and this is why I get mad. It's like we have St. John's here, and like, all right, you know, it's a good team. Tell me why they have the same issues that Tennessee has. They can't get a guy to shoot consistently in the 15. No. They're just, oh my God. It's like what I feel like UT and St. John's to just play a like for Mad New Yorker NCAA championship and just get it over with, because they ain't gonna make both of these teams. No. I have hope that they would make it, but I'm not sure they can, because
either one. He's got one guy that's really talented, but that guy can't carry the team. His name is Ahmet, a light-skinned guy, about 6'10". Ahmet, I think is his name. He's very good. I'm curious. He may develop into a pretty good NBA player. Kind of reminds me of Allen Houston a little bit, former New York Knicks. Anything else to plug real quick? Because I'm about to wrap it up, brother.
We're working on the World Series of Baseball. In the 2.5 weeks, the season will start in baseball. I'm going to put out my show here soon. I'm trying to get it all together before Easter.
You got it, man. Tag me with it.
And everybody get ready for Easter and come to Bunnies.
All right, Duke is good. I can't pick Duke. Tar Heel fan. Yeah, Chad. Boy, I hate it. And the guard got hurt for Carolina the other day. Although I like their point guard.
I see that little check on the thing going, Chip Gonzaga for Chad right there.
I would love to see Gonzaga. Hey, I like their coach too. I mean, it's going to be a great tournament. There's a lot of depth. Texas Tech would have been my sleeper, but they had a player get hurt too back in February. Watch out for maybe Iowa State of all teams. They're good.
Yeah,
they've won 2 big blowout games. So we'll see. I'll see you Wednesday, everybody. And of course, I'm going to do a show Monday, record a show, but I'm going to give you my first top 10 in the NFL mock draft.
Ooh.
So record that. Yeah, man. You got it. Check it out there, Carlos. Appreciate you. Let me give you that. All right, buddy. Have a good night, man. And everybody, again, check out the program. And I'll, like I said, I'm going to record one Monday and give that top 10 NFL mock draft. And I'll give you my whole first round eventually. But the first 10 will come out on Monday. Have a good night, everybody, and have a good weekend. And make sure and share the show. And I'll see you next time here on the Real Sports Scope.